Mm, So, DDoS attack countermeasures: protect secondary victims, detect and neutralize handlers, prevent potential attacks, deflect attacks, mitigate attacks, post attack forensics. So, protect secondary victims, monitor security regularly to remain protected from DDoS agent software, install antivirus and anti Trojan software and keep them up to date, increase awareness regarding security issues and prevention techniques among all internet users, disable unnecessary services, uninstall unused applications, and scan all files received from external resources. Properly configure and regularly update the built-in defensive mechanisms, the core hardware and software of systems. Next countermeasure for DDoS attack is detect and neutralize handlers. Remember when we initially explained about the DDoS attack, we explained that how the attacker sets up different handlers. This is like a C2C server, command and control servers, we can say. These handlers will infect the large number of computers on the network. This countermeasure is talking about that handler. So, detect and neutralize handlers means we have to find those handlers which will infect the computers and also which will command and control the computers. So we have to detect them and neutralize those handlers. And uh, and we'll be talking about the agents also. uh, the agents actually the we can say the zombies. So detect and neutralize handlers, there are three types. Using network traffic analysis, analyze communication protocols and traffic patterns between handlers and clients or handlers and agents in order to identify the network nodes that might be infected by the handlers. So by analyzing the traffic patterns, we can find the nodes that are infected by these handlers. Network botnet, neutralize botnet handlers. There are usually fewer DDoS handlers deployed compared to the number of agents. So neutralizing a few handlers can possibly render multiple agents useless, thus thwarting DDoS attacks. So we need to focus on the handlers rather than the agents, because handlers will be less in number compared to the agents. Spoofed source address. There is a decent probability that the spoofed source address of DDoS attack packets will not represent a valid source address of the definite subnetwork. Next is prevent potential attacks. Note: ingress is, in simple words, means entering a network, and egress means exiting from a network. So for number one is egress filtering. In egress filtering scans the headers of the IP packets leaving the network. Egress filtering ensures that unauthorized or malicious traffic never leaves the internal network. For example, if the source address of the header is not part of any systems in the network, that means the source address is spoofed. So the egress filtering will not allow this spoofed packet to go out of the network. So the packets will never reach the targeted server or machine. So next is egress filtering. In ingress filtering is a packet filtering technique used by many internet service providers (ISPs) to prevent the source address spoofing of traffic. It protects against flooding attacks originating from valid prefixes. It allows the originator to be traced to its source. Okay, ingress filtering will be done at the ISPs. So ingress, as I told earlier, this is filtering the packets before entering the network. So before entering the network, naturally ISPs, right? ISPs, from the ISPs, the packets comes to our network. So ISPs are the ones who will be filtering the packets. Basically, both ingress and egress filtering will assume that the source address spoofing has happened. So, in fact, most of the DOS or DDoS attacks, source address is spoofed. So, this can be a good method to stop or prevent the DDoS or DOS attacks. Next is TCP intercept. TCP intercept features in routers protect TCP servers from TCP SYN flooding attacks. Configuring TCP intercept features prevents DOS attacks by intercepting and validating TCP connection request. Okay, TCP intercept is one of the mode of the TCP. The other mode is wait mode. In intercept mode, the router will intercept any request and until three-way handshake is complete to protect servers from SYN flood attack. That is, when it receives a SYN packet, it will not allow the packet to reach the server. Instead, it only replies with the SYN-ACK on behalf of the server. On receiving the ACK from the client, it sends the original SYN to the server. If it does not receive the ACK, that means this is a attack, SYN flooding attack. So it will not allow the packets to go to the server. Rate limiting, rate limiting controls the rate of outbound or inbound traffic of a network interface controller. It reduces the high volume inbound traffic caused by the DDoS attacks. It is especially important to employ this technique in hardware appliances in which the technique is configured to limit the rate of requests on layers 4 and 5 of the open system interconnection model. Deflect attacks. Systems that are set up with limited security, also known as honeypots, act as an enticement for an attacker. Honeypots serve as a means of gaining information about attackers' attack techniques and tools by storing a record of the system activities. The defense in-depth approach is used with the IPSCS at different network points to divert suspicious DOS traffic to several honeypots. So KF sensors acts as a honeypot designed to attract and detect hackers and worms by simulating vulnerable system services and trojans. KF sensor is a Windows-based honeypot intrusion detection system. It acts as a honeypot designed to attract and detect hackers and worms by simulating vulnerable system services and trojans. Next is mitigate the attack. Load balancing. Increase bandwidth on critical connections to absorb additional traffic generated by an attack. Replicate servers to provide additional failsafe protection. Balance loads on each server in a multiple server architecture to mitigate DDoS attacks. Throttling. Note, throttling is in simple words can be translated as slowing. So throttling set routers to access a server with a logic that throttles incoming traffic levels to be safe for the server. So before going to the server, these routers will slow down the traffic. Throttling helps in preventing damage to servers by controlling DOS traffic. This method helps routers manage heavy incoming traffic so that the server can handle it. It filters legitimate users' traffic from fake DDoS attack traffic. Drop request. In this technique, servers and routers drop packets when load increases. System causes requester to drop the request by making it to solve a difficult puzzle that requires lot of memory or computing power before it can continue with request. Mm, okay, in the next video we'll see post attack forensics.